All right, so I mentioned in the Tickets for Less promo that there are some lines that are starting. There are more and more lines that are coming out. I think next week are a lot of the networks upfronts that Fox will give an indication of some Friday night games, and then we're about to enter that 2 week window where we should get like the Colorado, UTEP, and Northern Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Get your little taste.
Yeah. So Nebraska's a 6.5-point favorite in Vegas against Colorado. All right. That's
I called 5.5, so I was a point off.
Now, that is at the front end of the schedule. You know, you got the first 7 games to increase your competition level, get some questions answered, and not have a repeat of 2016 where you get off to a good start. And then the trip to Columbus on October 26th against the preseason #1 Ohio State Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Nebraska's currently a 25.5-point favorite.
Yeah.
So the gap, not even going to go there.
It's significant, is what you're saying. The 6.5 in favor of Nebraska. I remember when we were asked this question, we're like, okay, you posed the question. I said about 5.5. So this is, there's nothing about this as surprising. If you were curious, by the way, of the Colorado-North Dakota State game, as I'm sure some are, Colorado is a touchdown favorite against the Bison. -7.
New coach.
At home.
New era.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you an example as we'll close out this hour. On the discussion about Dylan. And I said the week before, after seeing him, before he played in the spring game, he's different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we haven't seen a quarterback like that. Now, he's got to go out and do it on the field.
Yep.
And it can't be all him. They got to figure out running back. We don't know about the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the deepest amount of pass catchers that they've had since Bo was here. I was walking off the field in the spring game. And after watching the spring game, and you see some things that you go, okay, I was anticipating some things, but now I'm surprised because there's certain things like poise, just playing pitch and catch, arm strength, just high football IQ, which has also been lacking at that position.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, instead of, hey, just pull the ball down and run, or hey, run the option, and if you read that guy, you go. The football IQ.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just me and other people. I'm gonna give you somebody else. I won't give you their name, but they did play football at Nebraska in the 90s, and we were on the field, so it's not Damon. We were on the field in the spring game, and we're walking off, and he's pretty. I mean, he's been welcomed into the football family to help out, and then he's been kicked out of the football family, and now he's back. So he was around Nebraska football the entire spring.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, man, Bly Hill didn't look good. And his response was, he's just a player. I was like, wow, he had a good spring, right? And he goes, yeah, but you got to have a good enough program to be able to replace a guy like that. I was like, okay, that's who you are. And then I said, what about Dylan? And he goes, there's a chance. That's all I said. He said, there's a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, that kind of partially validates what I'm seeing with my eyes. So it's okay to say that Nebraska got the quarterback room fixed. Okay.
Yeah, and I understand. I do understand the hesitation based on past experience. I do, but at some point, you just got to let yourself, again, don't overthink it. Watch certain aspects of his game, and we'll see more of this. A lot is still to be told when it comes to decision-making in the heat of the moment, in the heat of battle, in the actual games itself. But based on even decision-making that we saw during the spring game, and I understand you're not being brought down. There are different elements, different things that will exist that didn't during that time. But again, this is where if you had a chance to maybe watch him a little bit more in practice and other scrimmages, that you see a little bit more higher stakes. those evaluations, I definitely listen to for what people say, especially when they've seen him for all 15 practices. And at some point, you can look at him and say how he projects just based on what you've seen physically looks to be a major upgrade of what you had a year ago, even as a true freshman, even someone with zero college football experience. And it tells you two things. One, of what this kid could be, but more than anything, of how bad it was a year ago. Truly how bad it was a year ago. That competency will be embraced and welcome like someone who is on a Heisman Trophy list, because it'll be that important. I mean, if we're talking about this team making a jump and getting themselves to, let's say, a 7-win season, which I think would be very good. A 7-win season would be good. If you're to make that jump, the length that just competency and consistency will take you will be amazing.
Well, what a difference a day makes. Yesterday I said 7-5. I got some questions. And now today we get a little praise and people, like, whoa, no.
Step back.
Welcome. It's made. But this is good, though.
It is.
We're back.
And let's be honest.
Well, I love this comment you had.
Let's be honest. If it wasn't, if Nebraska didn't look very good, if Nebraska just looked normal in the spring game, nobody's talking about Nebraska. Nebraska had a quarterback that looked different. People are talking about Nebraska.
Yep.
Nebraska is relevant right now in the offseason because of one guy. Whether you like it or not, that's the reality of it. They're not relevant because people went, man, that defense was good last year, and they might be the number one defense. Hell, Joe Klatt could probably not name another guy off Nebraska's defense. Was he rattling off Isaac Gifford? Was going, I think Gifford's going to be leading tackler for Nebraska again.
No.
Hey, that addition by Thompson. Wait till you see Shavers, man. Rob Dvorak's going to be able to develop No.
None of that.
And I want to add to this, so I'm just going to pour like everybody that wants to like tamper this down. If you go to 24/7, they rank the 18 quarterbacks in the Big Ten. And I hope that the Big Ten becomes a quarterback conference. You've got a quarterback guru in USC. I think Dan Lanning has got a handle on it, going from Nix to Gabriel. Ohio State will have quarterbacks. I don't know that Michigan will be churning out a first rounder, every time that guy's eligibility comes up.
Yeah.
Penn State, I think, would like to have quarterbacks, but I hope the conference becomes a quarterback league.
Yeah.
Not just offensive line, defensive line, but quarterback. They've had good wide receiver play. So I hope it's quarterback play. But if you look at this upcoming year, man, it's awful slim on quarterbacks. Will Howard's up there. Will Rogers is up there. Gabriel's the best quarterback in the Big Ten before the season kicks off, going from Oklahoma to Oregon. 24/7 has Nebraska's freshman quarterback as the 6th best quarterback in the Big Ten, ahead of Cade McNamara, Hudson Card, Altmaier at Illinois, who I think will be a little bit better this year. But guys that have played in the Big Ten, 24/7 went, he'll be 6th in the preseason rankings. Yeah. They have Mason Miller of USC, I think, 5th.
Yes. Actually, no. Will Rogers is 5th.
Okay.
Miller Moss is 4th.
Miller Moss. He should be Mason Miller, and he should be the closer for the A's. But the quarterback play is, like, it leaves a little bit to be desired.
Yes.
I mean, you could have a guy that transfers from Northwestern, shows up in Iowa City, and McNamara can't play, and all of a sudden Sullivan's the starter in Iowa. The league needs to get better at quarterback.
Well, and especially if you think of the divisions in the Big Ten West, when could you ever say the Big Ten West had solid quarterback play? Now, I know we're no longer divisions, and you're adding some Pac-12 teams that have a history of producing good quarterbacks, which is great. But some of those non-traditional teams that don't do that, you got to step your game up too.
I'm here.
You're going to survive in the conference.
I'm here for quarterbacks matter.
They should matter, even in the Big Ten. Even when you have to do more than just hand the football off and throw the occasional 5-yard out. Got to do more.
Quarterbacks matter.